Real quick, I wanted to record this to talk to you all who are in the song creating business now since Suno came on board and other applications. Um, there's tens of thousands of songs being produced out there through these mediums. And I want to give you my take on songwriting for whatever it's worth. Because, of course, as you can see through my channel, I'm doing the same thing. Now, the very first thing I want to tell everybody, and there's debate on this, but when you really think about it, you have to see that the melody of a song is much more important than the lyric, at least initially. And here is why. You have about 3 seconds, 5 seconds, if you're lucky, maybe, to grab somebody once they start listening to a song. It's either going to hit them here or it isn't. And if it doesn't, and they turn the song off, then the lyric never gets heard. So, what's the point of the lyric? So, that is why the melody must come first. I'm not saying the lyric's not important. Obviously, it's important. You got to tell a good story, it's got to have meaning. I get it. Even if it's fictional or non-fictional, it doesn't really matter. But the melody is what matters most because that's what gets me to listen to the lyric. In other words, you're better off having a great melody, unbelievable melody, with bad lyric than you are having great lyric with a bad melody, if that makes any sense. Okay, so that's the first thing I want. And I listen to a lot of songs. R&B is very popular out there, but the problem I have with most R&B songs is they sound very similar one to the other. And as a creator for music, you really have to try and I would say satisfy as many genres as you possibly can because not everybody has the same taste, but the melody, you got to take some time on that. And let's be honest, some people have a really good ear for it and some don't. um, and that's just the truth of the matter. It's like when you're a motivational speaker. I mean, you got to have pretty good, vocabulary, pretty good articulation, and all that. So it's kind of like a package deal. When you're creating music, you got to have a pretty good ear for it, or it might not be for you. So, and keep that in mind. Now, when putting a song together, so let's talk a little bit. Where does the melody come from? Obviously, it comes from your heart and soul and having a good ear, as I just said. But as all songwriters know or should know by now, we have what's called the hook. And that is when I'm writing a song, that's the first thing that I try to establish. And now, the hook, most often, is the title of the song or very close to it. Like, I just did a song, I'm getting ready to publish it. It's called Open Sky, which I hope you'll all listen to and give me your thoughts on it. But Open Sky is during the pre-chorus and even the chorus is the hook, and that's how I usually start off. What do I want the hook to sound like? Which usually will dictate much of the verse melody. Now, here's the other thing, and again, don't rush a song. Don't just publish it because, oh, it's finished and it sounds pretty good. It's okay. I wouldn't do that. Make sure they're really as perfect as possible before you publish it. Because once it's out there for the posterity for the most part. I guess you could delete it, but once it's out there, it's kind of out there. So, and this is your image and your reputation that you're developing. Simon and Garfunkel. I read a long time ago. Back to the melody and lyric conversation. Um, one, as I recall, one of the reasons why they separated was because they had a difference in opinion on the lyric and the melody. Simon was all lyric, and you can notice by his songs it's very lyrical, very intentive, specific. But Garfunkel was more melody, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Everybody knows that melody. I mean, it's a beautiful melody, right? And that's what draws you to the song. And they had a difference in opinion on that. But I side with Garfunkel on this one all day long, as I said earlier, because the melody is king of all things. So, anyway. Um, but the ending of the song is also critically important. So the song could be perfect up until the very last two lines. And if it's not right, it could ruin the whole song because the last thing that the listener hears, and it could overcome the rest of the song. I'll give you a relevant, I think, a relevant example, like on movie reviews, for example. So you're getting ready to go see a new movie that came out. So you go look at the reviews. And the first review you read is scathing. It's horrible. You need about 15 to 20 positive ones to overcome that bad one before you'll even go see it. However, if the first 10 are great, awesome reviews, but the 11th one and the 12th one is terrible, those two supersede the first 10, according to statistical data. So too with the song, it could be perfect all the way through, but then the last note went low when it should have been high, or vice versa, etc., or it just doesn't fit the rest of the song. It could ruin the whole thing. So listen, here's the thing. Every song ever created in the history of mankind will always tell you where it wants to go. The song's going to tell you where it wants to go, melody-wise and tonality, all that. For example, if the song's leading up to a high, sustained note at the end, it's telling you that's where it wants to go, and you go low, not sustained, it ruins the song. Vice versa. I shouldn't say it ruins it. I mean, it's a good chance of ruining the song. And it certainly puts a bad taste in the listener's mouth right at the last second. So you got to be careful with that. Listen. I mean, that's part of writing songs. You have to have that ability. If you don't have that ability and you can't listen for that, then it's probably not the right occupation for you. But if you do have it, then use it, because it's going to tell you where it wants to go. And don't disappoint it. Go there. Give the song what it wants, and it'll work out most of the time. Now, the other thing too is this, and I know some creators personally, obviously, and most of the lyrics, almost all of them that I know, they're letting AI write the lyric for them. They might give it an idea and then that writes the lyric. I wouldn't do that. I mean, not entirely. It because it's not you. It's not your song. I get it on Suno sometimes you want to use an AI voice. I'll get to that in a second. But if you're going to be a songwriter, take the time. I mean, I spend hours and hours upon hours in this very room writing and rewriting songs until I have it the way I want it. But it's my song. Now, I will use like Chat GPT in some way. For example, because songs need to rhyme too. You got to have a rhyming pattern. Otherwise, it doesn't work. If, like, I did a song called Heaven's Glow, which is on my YouTube channel and on Spotify and everything else, Facebook. But anyway, I'll go into ChatGPT and I say, give me 10 words that rhyme with glow, or 20. And I'll try and find a word that I like that fits the song to use that as my next line to rhyme with glow. I will do that. But it's my song. It's my lyric. I just think it cheapens it when you do all AI for the lyrics, because it's not your song. It's not. It might be your idea, which is good. That's definitely a place to start, because you do have to have good ideas. Which, by the way, that's how I generally start even thinking about songs. is, and here again, I use some AI a little bit, what are some uh, good 2 or 3 word catchy titles for songs? Then I'll list them all, and I like that one, and then I'll create the song based on that hook. But it's my words, it's my story, it's my thought patterns, and everything else. And what is critical, if you want the melody, especially if you're using Suno, if you want the melody to really follow and be consistent, you got to take the time and syllable count. You have to, otherwise it's not. Suno doesn't work well with unbalanced syllable counts. I mean, you get lucky every once in a while, but so you got to. So listen. I'm in this office, like I just said, and I'm counting syllables for every line, and I write it down on every line. Okay, line 1 is 7, or sometimes line 1 has 2 parts to it. So the first part of line 1 is 7 syllables, and then that second half of line 1 is 3 syllables. So on verse 2, line 1, I try to get it 7 and 3 again. Now it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it can't be 7 and 3 and then 2 and 4. That's not going to, I mean, it will be off. A lot of times it's going to be off. But that takes time and effort, heart and soul. If you really want to be a songwriter and you want it to be yours and put the time and effort in, you got a syllable count. Now, the pre chorus and the chorus are easier because those remain pretty much intact. In other words, a typical song layout for me is intro. Don't forget about the intro, which is obviously pure music, which should match the style of the song. But, anyways, I have a verse 1, verse 2, pre chorus 1, bridge 1, verse 3, pre chorus 2, bridge 2, final chorus, normally. And so the pre chorus and the choruses are pretty much the same. You change a couple of words so it's not identical, but it's much easier to syllable count in the chorus and pre chorus because they largely remain intact. There's only like 2 lines in the pre chorus. You shouldn't have more than 2 lines in a pre chorus because then it interferes with the bridge. The pre chorus is designed to set up the bridge, which is a tempo change, a volume change, all that, as you know, I'm sure. So take your time, syllable count, listen for the melody, go where it wants to go, and produce, the best music you can, and change genres. Now let's go back to, as I said earlier, your voice. Now, obviously, Suno lets you do complete AI or your own voice. I choose to use my own. Most of the songs you hear is my voice. And a lot of them are me. I actually record the song and put it into Suno. It's actually me singing the song. And I do AI on some other songs that doesn't fit me. So in other words, don't try to use your own voice if it just doesn't fit you at all. It won't come out right, I don't think. But try to match the right vocal to the song. I think also helps. And also too, throw in a duet once in a while. It kind of breaks up the pattern a little bit. I'm a big fan of duets if you have the right female accompaniment that meshes with yours, that kind of thing. So, anyways, that's all I wanted to say today. Take your time, have fun, produce great music, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks.